listening to Two Aliens and 11 Roswell Books Podcast by Christy and Jess, hosted on Spreaker.com, an original Roswell podcast about the relevance and importance of the companion book series to the TV show Roswell. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode or pilot episode of our podcast, Two Aliens and 11 Roswell Books. I am your host, Christy, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jess, who you also may know as the Roswell Book Queen.
Hey guys, so excited to have you here with us.
And if you follow us on Instagram, you may know me as at Roswell Virtual Party, and of course, as I said, Jess is at the Roswell_Book Queen. So we're going to explain a little bit about how we met, how this podcast came together, what it's about, why we're doing it, how we got introduced to the books, and what you can expect to hear from us in the future. So Jess and I met last year during the crazy year of 2020. I got this idea in quarantine that I was going to rewatch the television show Roswell, and I didn't want to do it alone. So I started this Instagram page called Roswell Virtual Party, and I started these IG Lives where I would do a Roswell rewatch every Saturday night, and that is how my friend Jess found me on Instagram, and that is how we met.
That's right, Christy. I started going to the lives with you, and I started just, messages, and we had a good old time talking about everything Roswell.
We did, and then we actually ended up meeting in person about, I think, a month after we met, which was actually pretty fast, but it happened that way because I was visiting my parents in Chicago, and at the time, the Chicago airport wouldn't let me fly directly into the airport from the state of Louisiana where I live. So I had to fly into Indiana, where Jess lives, and I had to drive from Indianapolis with my dad to my hometown in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. And thankfully, I had a couple hours to kill after I flew in, and I was able to meet Jess, and we got to have a late lunch together, I think it was.
That's right. We drove up to Indy that day. I took off work, and I met Christy, and here she comes out of the airport with a Roswell shirt on, and it was just big old hug, meet my family, and we've been great friends ever since.
Yes, Jess has become one of my fast, close friends from Instagram, and I'm so glad we've met in person, and now we know each other, and it's just so great when you have a genuine friendship that started from social media, because it's kind of rare these days. It doesn't happen. So we're happy that we have met and become fast friends, and now we love talking about Roswell books, which is why we're here and started this podcast. That brings us to a little bit about us. Why did we start watching Roswell? For me, I started watching Roswell, I think just after I turned 13 in 1999 in the show's first season. I'm fairly sure I watched from the beginning, but I'm not quite sure. I don't have the best memory, but I do know I have all of the Roswell original episodes on VHS tape. Most of them I recorded. Some of them I bought off the internet. I got super into Roswell. I thought it was this awesome show. I got so addicted that I had memorized all of the season 1 episode titles. And at the time, I was going through a really dark period in my life as a teenager. I actually had a lot of suicidal thoughts, and I didn't think my life was worth living. And Roswell was one of those things that kept me going in my life. So when you think about it, Roswell quite literally saved my life, and I am really grateful for that because it gave me something to look forward to every week. It made me believe in soulmates and love, and I could relate to it because it was a show about teenage aliens who didn't feel like they fit into this world, and I honestly feel like that in this world myself. I kind of feel like an alien. Jess, how did you start watching Roswell?
Oh, when it came out originally, I was a junior in high school. So I watched it every day when it was on after school, and I think on Wednesday nights. I actually don't remember if I finished out the season back then because I was going from high school to college and my life was completely changing. So I really didn't remember the ending. And then, life happened. I had a couple kids, got married, and I forgot it even existed, to be honest. And then quarantine hit and I saw that article and I read about a reboot and I said, I don't remember that show. I need to go dive right back into it. About the same time that you rewatched Roswell, so did I. I found an article online that said 10 reasons why you should rewatch Roswell. And I thought, hey, I haven't seen that in a long time. And my husband had never seen it. So I said, it's my turn to pick a series. Guess what we're doing? So we sat there and watched through quarantine. And I fell in love again. And then I said, I really want more. I really don't like the way it ended. So I started looking for groups of people or, groups in general that I could join so we could talk about my favorite show. And I found them on Facebook first. And then I started figuring out how to use Instagram. And I found Christy. And then from there, it just, turned me into a queen.
Yep, and that's how it all started. Through quarantine last year, we started watching Roswell again, and it has been a journey ever since.
It's been an obsession ever since. I haven't stopped.
Yeah, pretty much. It has brought back all of the teenage feels, all of the teenage nostalgia, and now I've been able to interact with the cast through social media and the Baron and Toluca campaign. Shout out to Baron and Toluca on Indiegogo. Please go support them. And you can still purchase some merch, even though their campaign ended back in January. You can still go on there, buy the merch, support Baron and Toluca, which is a spiritual successor to the show Roswell that Brendan Fair and Mahendra Delfino are producing, and they're starring in it. It's going to be amazing. I'm very excited about it. Both Jess and I have merged and have supported Baron and Toluca's Indiegogo campaign. So just a little shameless plug. Go check it out.
And let me just say, this is my first fandom ever. I never was into this kind of thing at all. And part of that, this whole needing to be included in something was because of the pandemic. But also, I felt like I was part of something bigger than myself. And it's just, Baron and Toluca, I'm so excited about that as well, because they know that we are Roswell fans, and they're going to make sure that they include that in this journey. And it's a love letter to us. That's what Brendan said, and I appreciate that, because we kind of got screwed out of our show. It ended way too soon. We do have some good things, but it's nice to see that the cast cares about their fans and love us and have been reaching out to us. And I have never, ever talked to a star before in my life. And this is the first time. And I can't believe it. And they are so genuine and great. And I just appreciate all that, especially for something that I love so much.
Absolutely. This was one of my first fandoms that I was super passionate about and obsessed with as well. I told all my friends to watch it. You've got to watch it. I tell people about Baron and Toluca as well. I wear the merch everywhere. I brought it with me to Chicago recently when I visited my parents. I mean, this fandom is just so special to me and always will be.
Yeah, I think I've bought everything I can find off eBay.
Yes, we have tons of merch off eBay and other random places on the internet as well.
Tons.
Etsy, you name it. I mean, so much.
I don't have any space.
Yeah, I had to make two little Roswell shelves, and I'm also running out of space. A little bit more about us that is non-Roswell related. What hobbies do we have outside of the Roswell fandom? I think we have a lot of hobbies, so Jess, I'll let you answer this one first.
That's a good question. I'm a mom, and when I'm not being a mom, when I'm not watching Roswell, rewatching it, or reading the books, I like to be crafty. I made handprints and I made a car. Like, who can say they made a replica of a Bob? And no, that's not a battery-operated boyfriend. It's the car. That's my hobbies right there. It's your turn, Christy. I'm done.
This is an adult-themed podcast, everybody. We're talking about battery-operated.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Back to my hobbies. I'm going to answer that question. What hobbies do I have outside the Roswell fandom? Well, I have a ton of hobbies, and I've always been a very creatively inclined person. I've always liked writing short stories. I've written fanfic. I started editing fan videos when I was in college in 2004. And now I have a YouTube channel of over 1,000 subscribers, which you can subscribe at X Creative Christy X. You can find me there on YouTube. I've made a bunch of Roswell fan videos and a lot of soap opera fan videos. And I started with One Tree Hill fan videos, and then I moved on to other things. I also host Liaison Radio on TalkShoe.com. I do that about once a month. I haven't done that the last few months because I've had a lot going on.
You do a lot of stuff.
And then, of course, now you can add this podcast to the list of my hobbies.
Good.
But Liaison Radio is a kind of like a podcast, live radio show that I record and other people can join, and we talk about our favorite soap operas. Mainly it was started for Jason and Elizabeth fans from the soap opera General Hospital. We mainly talk about Days of Our Lives and General Hospital because those are really the only two soap operas I care about and watch, though I had watched a little bit of the other ones. But those are the main two that we talk about, and I've been doing that for like 11 years. That'll be 12 years coming this August. It's a very long time. And I could go on and on, I guess, about my hobbies, but I'm not going to bore you guys too much.
That has a lot of hobbies.
Which brings us to a question that we got from one of our Roswell fans out there about what pets do we have. So I've got my two cats, Whiskers and Kitty. They're amazing. I call Whiskers my boyfriend and Kitty's my girlfriend. And I just hang out with them, and I just love hanging out with them. And that's kind of a hobby. What pets do you have, Jess?
I have 3 very spoiled kids. Wait, cats. Cats. I have Pan, the fluffy fluffer cat. He's really hairy. And then Stormy. He's like a kitten. And then I've got Harmony, black cat.
That's what I want. I just want more cats.
They're like having more children. I have 3 kids. Unfortunately, right now, only 2 of my kids are not living with me, but I have a 4-year-old named Gideon, and you'll probably hear him thumping. No, you probably won't, but he's a lot of energy. He's adorable, isn't he, Christy?
Gideon is super adorable. I have had the pleasure of meeting Gideon in person. I can tell you he's one of the most adorable children I have ever seen.
Adorable. It's those big blue eyes.
And I'm really not into kids, actually. I'm really not super into kids, but I love other people's children, including my friends' children. So Gideon would fall into that category.
There you go.
Super adorable.
Well, I also have a 11-year-old and a 10-year-old, April, my daughter, and William is my other son, and they're something else. They're hilarious too, and hopefully someday soon I'll be able to hang out with them again because of the stupid pandemic. But, life.
Yeah. That brings us to, what's this podcast about, you may ask? Well, we have stated that we both love the television show Roswell. So, first of all, before we get into what the nitty-gritty of the podcast is about, we want to invite you to watch the television show Roswell if you have not already heard about this amazing show. You can watch it on imdb.com with commercials for free. You can watch it with a Hulu subscription. You can watch it with an Amazon Prime subscription, or you can buy the episodes on iTunes or probably on YouTube as well. I'm pretty sure you can find it on there. But if you don't want to buy a subscription or buy episodes or buy the DVDs, which you can get off the internet on, Amazon and eBay, you can definitely watch for free at imdb.com with the commercials. I do actually want to plug our friend Leonard because he is amazing, and he restored the episodes with the original music that you heard when the show first aired, and it's absolutely incredible. So if you would like to experience Roswell the way I feel it's meant to be experienced with the original music, just contact us at roswellvirtualparty@gmail.com or on our Instagrams at roswellvirtualparty and at the Roswell_bookqueen, and we can direct you to where to find that.
Yeah.
Now that we've stated where you can watch the TV show Roswell, we got to explain to you why we're doing this podcast called 2 Aliens and 11 Roswell Books. We saw that there was a need for a resource for Roswell fans to get information about the tie-in book series or the companion book series to the television show Roswell. A lot of people know about the Roswell High books, but not the companion book series, which we didn't know until last year as well. Basically, like it says in the description, 2 Aliens and 11 Roswell Books Podcast is about the importance and relevance of the companion book series to the TV show Roswell. And we do actually have, I believe, 7 out of 11 of these books on PDF on a Google Drive. So if you just email me at roswellvirtualparty@gmail.com, I will be happy to share that link with you. Or, of course, you can contact us on any of our social medias. We do have our friend Deb, who recently transcribed all of No Good Deed, the first book in the tie-in series, and that is now uploaded to the Google Drive that we have of all of the Roswell books, including Roswell High.
So eventually we will have all 11 books on Google Drives to share with everybody who needs them or wants them, which was the goal.
In this podcast, we're going to be talking about the differences between the Roswell High books and the 11 Roswell tie-in series books. For one, Roswell High only has 10 books, but the Roswell tie-in series books has 11 books. We're going to talk about more in depth about all of them. We're going to talk about our issues with them. We're going to talk about what happens in the last 4 books. And we have high hopes for what happens even after that. So we have a rough outline of how we would like things to go. But really, you may ask yourself the question, why are we doing this podcast? Jess, because you are the Roswell Book Queen, I would like you to share from your perspective why we are doing this podcast.
After I did my rewatch of Roswell, I literally did not sleep for days because I kept thinking about our favorite characters in that van trying to escape the special unit. What the heck happened? Did they get caught? What happened when they got married? What happened? So literally drove me nuts. So like I said before, I joined a bunch of social media groups, and our friend Leonard just so happened to tell me about these books. And I said, books? What are you talking about? So he sent me a picture, and I immediately scoured the internet looking for these books. And it took me a good few months to get them because these books are not easy to find, and they're expensive, especially Turnabout, which is the last one. So the reason we're doing this is for this reason. nobody knows what we're talking about. I cannot tell you what kind of kickback I get when I even talk about the Roswell books. Everybody thinks it's fanfic. Everybody thinks it's not real. Well, I'm here to tell you, they're real. I own them, and they're amazing. And I don't just mean amazing. I mean freaking amazing. If you think watching this series is good, wait until you find out what happens in the last 4 books. I'm just saying, it's great. And we're going to talk about all that. I want to share my knowledge of these books with the world. I do. Because I feel like the world deserves an ending like this. Our show, our characters, and everything that you love about watching the series are in this book. So that's why we're doing this.
We are so passionate about these books, and we want to share with everyone the pure existence of these books, because a lot of fans are still finding out about these books. We're in Roswell Facebook groups, and we see it all the time. People ask, oh, I wonder what happened after the show ended. I wish we knew what happened after the show ended. What happened with Max and Liz, and Michael and Maria, and Kyle and Isabel, and, like, did this happen, and did Jesse come back? And, like, all these questions, at least the majority of them, are answered in the books. And that's why we want people to know. We're not trying to be pushy about it, but at the same time, we're super passionate, and we know that this podcast can be a great resource for fans.
And also, I really wanted a way that fans could understand where the books go in the series. Because we don't just have 4 after the series ends. We've got it in season 2 and 3. So when I read them completely out of order. And I was like, okay, well, this goes here, this goes here. So on my own, I went through and rewatched the series again. Oh, darn. And I went through every single thing, and I compared it to the books. And I made a little handy-dandy sheet that I would be glad to give to you if you're interested, which where to read, where to watch, and that way you'll know the exact way to enjoy the whole series.
I got introduced to the books through Jess, who got introduced to the books through our mutual friend, Leonard. So, Leonard, this is all your fault, man. This is all your fault.
Yeah, all your fault. All this money that I'm spending on Roswell stuff, it's Leonard's fault. I blame you, buddy. It's okay. It's a good blame.
No, we love you, Leonard. That's a positive thing. When we say that, it's not meant to be negative. It's a positive thing. We love you, Leonard, and we're so glad you told us about the book.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Without you, we wouldn't have the books. We wouldn't have so many amazing things. So you're like the Roswell Encyclopedia to me, and you know I love you.
Right. And as you can tell, I have like no hobbies. I'm boring. Super boring. So, what did you give me? I have a purpose. This is my purpose. This is my life. I love this. And it gives me so much fulfillment. And then on top of this, like, did I ever think I'd do a podcast? No. So, this is fun. This is great.
Jess, this is probably a good time for the next question. Why are you called the Roswell Book Queen?
Because, I don't know, as you can tell, I have so much passion about these books that it just, I don't know, they said, man, you're the queen of this, and it just stuck. And ever since then, I've been labeled as the queen. I just thought, I'm going to tell the word about these books, and I became a queen.
Yes, no one can take that crown from you, Jess. You know these Roswell books inside and out, and through the fandom, you have been labeled the Roswell Book Queen, and I say you wear that crown with pride because you've earned it.
Well, thank you. Ding. That's my shine right there. Ding.
In the next few episodes, what you can expect to hear on this podcast is the differences between the Roswell High books and the 11 Roswell tie-in series books. And we'll go into depth about more things in the books, an overview, We'll go into why people don't know about these books, why they were not highly publicized, and why the books matter so much, which I'm sure Book Queen could go on about for a long time.
Yes, I can.
We're going to have one episode each about each one of the books, possibly more episodes, depending on how in-depth we get. We're going to share the relevant details in the cliff notes of each book.
And interest.
We're going to share about our problem child books that we have.
Right. If you have something that you want to talk about, something that's bugging you, something you've read, something in the TV show that you don't understand, that you want to know if it's more detail or if it's in the books, hit us up. Send us a DM. Email us. Say, hey, let's talk about this. And we can make a podcast of it. We can talk about it. We can give you a shout out. We can do all those things.
Absolutely. We're really looking forward to answering your questions and going into depth about the last 4 books, which is after the TV series ended, so the after graduation books we call them. We're going to talk about the 2 different future Max reveals that happens in the books. We're going to talk about why Jess doesn't like fan fiction, and there is several reasons, which we will share in a future episode.
Yes, we are.
We're going to share about the continuity errors between the books and the TV series. There's minor characters like the FBI agents that we learn about more in the books. We're going to have an episode about the questions and answers from you guys, our listeners and followers. We will dedicate an entire episode to a Q&A from all of our listeners and followers. Then what happens after the last Roswell books? We're going to share about what we think should happen and why we want a Roswell movie. Then in the future, we hope to have some special interviews. But that about covers it for all the episodes we have planned coming up.
I just hope that people enjoy the books and this podcast as much as we do. And I look forward to telling you everything I know.
Yes, because she does know everything. She has read these books multiple times. She knows them inside and out.
Yeah, I have a problem.
Jess has a problem, but that's okay. That's why we're here with this podcast.
I'm telling you, though, if you want to understand the whole story of Roswell, you have to incorporate these books. They are not fanfic. They are not something that was made up. They were contracted out by known authors, Star Trek authors, to be exact, to write about our favorite characters. And they did it well. Very well. And you'll see what I mean when we get more in depth into it.
Yes, absolutely. So before we end the podcast here, we want to share a couple of disclaimers just to cover all of our bases. For the book discussion episodes, and pretty much from this point forward, if you want to read or listen to the books yourself, we recommend that you don't listen to any of the book discussion episodes. We're going to be sharing spoilers for what happens in the books. If you would like to read them for yourself, we encourage you to purchase the books via Amazon, eBay, Thrift Books, Biblio, or wherever you can find it. If you prefer listening to someone read you the books, we suggest you subscribe to the Roswell Book Party channel on YouTube. They have all the books posted in audio form through the end of A New Beginning, and we'll post the rest of the series as soon as possible. That ends it for our podcast, and until next time, we recommend that you read the bleepin' books. All opinions stated in this podcast are fan opinions only. We do not own the rights to the books. They were published through Simon & Schuster. Fox owns the rights to the books. We do not personally know anyone who helped produce the TV show Roswell or the authors who wrote the Roswell books. We suggest you subscribe to the Roswell Book Party channel on YouTube. They have all the books posted in audio form through the end of A New Beginning, and will post the rest of the series as soon as possible. Thank you for listening to 2 Aliens and 11 Roswell Books Podcast.